Hello everybody, my name is Robert, that's Lola, and this is Review Clue. Now, today I'm really excited to be presenting to you the Tronsmart Apollo Bold Hybrid Active Noise Cancelling Headphones. Now, before this point, I'd never heard of the company Tronsmart. Someone at my workplace, one of my colleagues, turned to me and said, "Hey, have you seen these things?" And I was like, "Nope, never heard of them." And I was going to dismiss it, but then he sent me the link, and I was like, well, what the hell, what have I got to lose? So I looked online, and these things were £80 from, I think, two different buyers. There was Geek Shopper and some other one, I think it was Banggood or something like that, one of the Chinese distributors. So 80 quid, and I was like, okay, cool, might be fun. And then I started looking at some of the specs. This thing has a Qualcomm Apex chip, aptX chip in them, so they have the latest Qualcomm chip. They of course have active noise cancelling, as shown in the name there. Over 30 hours of battery life. I mean, everything about these sounded incredible. They sound like, to me, these are really trying to rival the likes of Sony and their earbuds and the AirPods Pros, but for 80 quid. So for that price, I couldn't turn these down. So I ordered them, and they came within 3 days. Like, shipping was super quick. So I've got them here with me now, and we're going to do an unboxing, and we're going to do a review of these things. And I think these are potentially the most exciting headphones I've ever used. But before we get into it, if this is the first time you've seen mine or Lola's face on your screen, then please do consider going down below, subscribing, hitting that bell icon, liking, commenting, engaging, because what that does is that tells YouTube that this is a good video and everybody should see it. So let's get right into the unboxing experience, because that's the first thing that really blew me away about these, the attention to detail with the packaging. Let's go. So here we are with the packaging, and as I said, I was blown away by this packaging because it just looks so cool and so premium. So on the top, we've obviously got the name. We can see that it's got that Qualcomm chip in it, which means a couple of things. It means we're going to get great ANC performance, we're going to get awesome battery life, and rock solid connectivity to your phone from like 15 feet away. It's really incredible. Along the bottom, you've got a couple of different bits of information, including that ANC, the battery life, the chip, and everything else. On one side, you have a couple of different modes that this has. It of course has ANC on, ANC off, and pass-through. Pass-through was a really important feature and an interesting feature to me, because I walk to work and I walk in London. I think we all know London roads can sometimes be a little bit dangerous if you can't hear your surroundings. So that was a really important mode for me, and it's kind of what sold me. On the back, we see the headphones themselves and its carry case and a load of information. If you want to see that information, you can pause and look at it here. And on the side, what's really nice is we have a breakdown of these headphones. This is a breakdown of exactly what's in these headphones, the chips, and how they're created. I really like that. I think every company should do that. It's one, a fun design, and two, it's nice to see just what goes into them. So if we open up the side here, we of course get the headphones themselves, but more interestingly, we get this. This is a breakdown of how that ANC is working. So you can have a little bit of a science lesson at the same time if you like. Basically, what it's going to do is those microphones that are on this thing are going to listen to sound around you, and it's going to pick up on the frequency. It's then going to play the polar opposite frequency, leading to nothing. If you want to read a little bit more about it, you can pause here and look at it, but we're just going to move ahead over to the side where the actual headphones are. So you get the two headphones and the carry case, obviously, and that is the charging case. It says powering you ahead on the bottom there. I'm going to place it off to the side. We of course have all of the instructions, which are interesting to read. You should probably read them, only because of the touch controls that it has on the side. These are touch panels on the side, and the controls are a little bit difficult to get to grips with, shall we say. So you also do get your different tip sizes. I'm still trying to work out my tip size. The medium ones tend to fall out of my ear quite easily, so I might move over to the large. We of course get USB-C cable because this does charge with USB-C. Thank you, Tronsmart. I just wish we had some kind of wireless charging capability, but there isn't with this model. And if we pull that up, we also get, rather curiously, a little carry pouch. It's nice to see that we got it, but at the same time, I do question why we need a carry case for a charger for some headphones. Like, surely just having the actual case in your bag is enough. Why do you need a carry bag for your case for your headphones? Anyway, let's go ahead and move that off to the side and take a look at the headphones and its case a little bit closer. So there we go. Let's pull out that case and take a look at it. It's fairly small. It's going to give you about 20 hours of battery life for these headphones, which is pretty incredible. It does 2/3 of its charge, so you get 10 hours from the buds themselves if you're not using the ANC and the pass-through and you're not talking on it and you're just using it for music at, I think, a lower volume, so your mileage will vary. But you also get the case, which is going to 2 times charge those things. You of course get the USB-C on the back there, but that's about it. They are quite small and they're very flat and compact. I prefer this to the more pill-shaped design because the pills are a little bit thicker and they kind of stick out and get in the way in your pocket. So that's a nice compromise, I think, there. And you do get the earbuds as well, obviously, which really do come attached to this plastic. There you go. So there is the earbud itself. I'm just going to hold it in my hand there and you can see its size. These things are tiny. And they are also one of the most nicely designed earbuds I've ever seen. They look like the Sony ones. I can't remember the exact name. I'll put them up on the screen now. But that, to me, is what they look like. You've got this nice sort of gold accenting. Right now, you can only have the black and the gold. Apparently, they are coming out with more colours, and this will be in the future. But for now, black and gold it is. They are very thin, so when you do put them in your ears, they're not too obtrusive, which I will show you in a minute. We, of course, do get those charging pieces, and we also have a little sensor, so it will know when you've taken it out of your ear, and it will automatically pause the music. So let's go ahead, open up the case there, place it in, and that's how it's going to look while it's charging. We get the little LED on the front here. In the instruction manual, there is an indication of what this LED means. It's kind of confusing. It depends how fast it flashes, depends upon how much battery life you've got left. It wasn't the most intuitive design choice, I don't think, Tronsmart. We'll try and get this last earbud out. There we go, there's that second one. Just going to place it straight into its case, get these little things charging for maybe half an hour, and then we'll talk about how these things look and how these things perform. The earbuds themselves are small, discreet and light, sitting in the ear while not looking too out of place or protruding too far. I did find that I have to keep pushing the bud back in and giving it a slight twist as well to get the best fit, otherwise I found they just fell out all over the place. But this might just be me not choosing the right bud size. They are very flat in design, and honestly, I love how they look. An elegant colour scheme that rivals that of Sony in terms of design and build quality. With its flat design, you do of course get touch controls as well, which I personally found a little bit annoying and I wish I could customise. But right now this isn't possible, though they say this month a new app will be released so you're able to do this. Giving a triple tap on either bud cycles through pass-through, ANC and passive mode. A single tap on each side changes the volume. A double tap play and pauses. A hold skips tracks, and a long hold brings up the assistant of choice. And that's a lot to remember, so you probably will find yourself fumbling around with these just to get the right setting. So what's it actually like to use these things? Well, I'm happy to report that they work as expected, particularly in the pass-through mode. So this is the mode that I use the most. As I noted earlier, I travel into London, I walk, so I like to be aware of my surroundings as I walk. And this does it really well, to the point that I can hear the outside world, be that cars driving past, people talking, but I can also just hear my music, and I can be lost in my music but still be aware. In particular, I liked this during meetings. So when I'm talking to someone in the office, I can just have my music on a very low volume and have that pass-through mode on. I can talk to people and still have that conversation. They're still able to hear me, I'm still able to hear them, and I can have my music playing as well. I don't have to keep fiddling with taking earbuds in and out. Though, of course, that does beg the question, can we change the volume of that pass-through? And unfortunately you can't. That pass-through is always one volume, but I find it's a very good volume. It's the volume that you would normally hear the outside world as. It doesn't amplify that sound at all. In terms of active noise cancelling, I found that it was just as good as the Sony's, if not better, but it wasn't quite as good as the Apple AirPod Pros. But again, these are £80, and for £80 this ANC was incredible quality. Like, I could be walking to work and I could flick between ANC on and the pass-through. And when I have ANC on, I heard nothing. I couldn't hear the cars around me. I couldn't hear the people around me. There were some noises that I could still hear. For example, while I was on the train, I could still hear the conductor talking. But that didn't bother me too much. The ANC works really well here. But of course, if you want the true ANC experience, I would always say go with something like the QC35s. These are the overhead style. These will obviously always give you better noise cancelling than something that you simply put in your ear. But for earbuds, these are some of the most exceptional ANC I've ever experienced. Connectivity was absolutely no issue here either, and I loved this. I could leave my phone in any room of my flat, and I could walk to anywhere else in my flat and I would still have rock solid connectivity. And it was the same in the office. This was between 2 floors and a fairly large distance, like 30-40 meters worth of distance, and I didn't see a cutout at all. And I was so impressed by this. Normally with these kinds of headphones, or any kind of headphone, you get to a certain point where it just sort of starts to cut out as that Bluetooth connectivity drops, but I didn't see that at all here, and I honestly don't know how they've done it, but it's the best connectivity I've ever seen, and I don't think you'll find anything better on the market right now. Audio is of course great too. These are headphones, so you want to know the audio quality, and I'm not going to harp on about it. I'm not an audiophile. This isn't what I do. Audio is not a trained thing for me. It's a trained ear, so I'm going to just go ahead and say that these sound incredible. The bass isn't too heavy on them. Of course there is a prominence of bass there, but that is the same with any headphone that you buy. Unfortunately right now you can't sort of EQ any of your audio right now. The app is coming in September, as I've noted before, so when that does come out, I will do a review of it and how the EQ works there. If you have an iPhone or an Android, I think you can do some EQ settings inside your settings. That works. If you don't like the soundscape, you can obviously change it through third-party EQs or however you need to, but do bear in mind, on a flat EQ, these are rather bass heavy. I think one of the biggest downsides I ever saw with these was during video calls and during watching videos and YouTube. Now, I've never really noticed this with Bluetooth headphones, but with this one it was really prominent that I could be having a conversation with someone over a video chat, and the audio latency was intense, like it was noticeable, below a second still, but noticeable enough for it to feel off and not feel quite right. So listening to music you're fine with. Films, YouTube or kind of meetings, I would avoid with these headphones just because of that latency issue. I suspect it's something that could be fixed with an over-the-air update at a later date, but right now that latency is pretty bad here on the iPhone. I'm not running an iPhone 11 Pro, so maybe that changes per device. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've got these and you've discovered that audio problem as well in terms of latency. So there you have it. That's been my review of the Tronsmart Apollo Bolds. Some of the most incredible sounding, looking and feature-rich headphones I've ever used, but for £80 I cannot fault them. Whether you're on an iOS or an Android platform and you're just using these for music, for commuting, these are my go-to. I've stopped using my QC35s over these because they're so much smaller and more compact. I can just throw them in my pocket as opposed to having to fold up the headphones and put them in my bag. So as noted, the app is coming as well. When that does come out, I'll do a full review of it because I think that's a really important bit of how it works. We've got that the touch controls, but when we can start to change those and adapt them to how we want them to work and have that EQ how we want them, I think these are going to be the be-all and end-all of headphones. If you want to grab a pair, then they'll be in the comments section down below. There will be a little link to buy these from Tronsmart themselves and from the 2 resellers that I've seen them on. And pick them up, let me know what you think. Have you tried these headphones? Do you enjoy them? Do you like them? Anyway guys, my name's been Robert, this has been Review Clue, and I will catch you in the next one. Adios.